Okay. Hare Krishna. Om Gyana Timirandasya
Shalakaya Chaksuramritam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha
Shri Chaitanya
Bhistam Apitam Yena Bhutare Swayam Ruka Gadamakyam Dadati Svapadantikam.
Padantikam. Hari Hari Bol. Let all the spiritual masters be behind us and support us to do this empathic communication for their pleasure.
Don't pay attention. I hear you. I have these headphones. Just, yeah, please.
Today, okay, maybe I wait for a moment. I see that the Charya Prabhu is connecting. Hare Krishna Prabhu, good to see you over a long time. And I will throw out this our usual check-in question. Any mornings or celebrations connecting to your empathic communication practice that you would like to share in order to us to become more or less on the same wavelength? Anybody would like to share something that has gone really in a way that you celebrate, and maybe something that has not gone in a way you would have liked to, but that has kind of that is kind of sign that there are some room for improvement. Okay, I will start sharing. I was just reminded that we had a visit a week ago, with our family, from our family in Estonia. And at some point, one of the family members became really sad and frustrated about some things, how things have been gone. And by Guru's and Krishna's mercy, I celebrate that I was able to hear her with the whole my being, without coming up to my mind and analyzing or trying to fix it, or things that are habitual ways of communicating for many of us. So by the grace, I was just able to sit with her and listen. And I didn't even use much words. I didn't make an empathic guess about feelings and needs after each of her expression or sentence, but time to time I kind of checked in if I'm if I'm on the same wavelength with her, like I was guessing that you really value people being kind and considerate each other, and that helped her to go deeper. I saw she confirmed that yes, that's what I'm really wanting, and that helped her to access the next layer of feelings and needs. So it lasted quite some while, and I experienced sweet pain when I was hearing her, and I noticed that also my tears were rolling at some point, but it wasn't that I was kind of disappearing or being disillusioned in her pain. It was, as Marcel Rosenberg calls it, it was really sweet pain, and it was what the creator or developer of nonviolent communication, Marcel Rosenberg, calls enjoying other people's pain. And when we maybe first hear that expression, we may think that, oh my God, he's speaking about psychopaths or something like this. But no, that's actually also the first-hand experience that I got from this this occasion, that I was feeling also pain, but this was sweet pain of connecting really on the heart level with another human being. And this deep connection is what Marshall is meaning, that enjoying others' pain. It's not literally enjoying that someone is having been hurt or whatever, but being with this divine energy and allowing this divine energy flow through us. And that energy has tremendous healing potency. And also in this situation, when she experienced, she was just heard and understood in quite deep level. She kind of became peaceful and calm and was able to go on with her life. And really celebrating that how amazingly Krishna's and Guru's mercy works. That I've been wondering about this point, about this enjoying that pain for quite a few days before that event, and tried to find references to it and learn more about it. And then I was given this first-hand experience. So yeah, Janananda Das is joining. Very wonderful. Welcome, Janananda Prabhu.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
You all.
Yes.
Except Damodar Priya, which I can't see.
Damodar Kripa Prabhu is hiding behind his nice book distribution photo.
Okay.
Yes, we are in the middle of the, just to, so that you will be on the board, Janananda Prabhu. Also, we are in the middle of sharing our celebrations or moments about practicing empathic communication. If anybody has something you want to celebrate that went in a way that you wanted, or maybe even better, or if you want to mourn something that didn't work out as well as you would have liked, then the floor is free for sharing a few more minutes.
I would like to share only a little, because I'm not so, I have not practiced so much as I noticed at the moment. But there was one letter in the office which I had to write or act, and I didn't know how to choose the words. And then I just wrote that I noticed that what I want to say, that I had one tool more than earlier. Earlier, I couldn't express myself correctly, but now I just said the truth, because it was the truth that I noticed something else. Earlier, I would have written some my opinion or whatever, and the other person would have answered also not so pleasantly or something, or felt that I criticize him. But now I just wrote that I noticed difference between this and that. So I see that this practice helps to communicate just in a simple and honest and non-violent way. I had a question about your story. Should I ask it later?
No, please go ahead.
You said that when we connect to the other person's pain, we can enjoy it. And then you said, let this divine energy go through you. I didn't catch it correctly, I think, but what did you mean? How is divine energy connected to the story? Divine energy, is it the feeling of connection? Is it the feeling of others' pain? Or what did you mean by divine energy?
Yes, it means this precious connection that I tried to quote Marshall Rosenberg from here, that this enjoying the other's pain, which is like kind of in the quotes, right, means to enjoy that precious connection between us and the other person. And this connection, whether this person is feeling joy or pain, if we are present there with them, that is what he means by this precious connection, or enjoying this pain or the beauty. But this connection doesn't happen when we are blocking this energy. And today is our plan to repeat. We have been also mentioning these elements that are blocking this precious connection. But I thought that this empathic communication and this kind of connection is so important that let us go through once more today and make more clear the distinctions, what empathy is in connection with empathic communication and what it isn't. Then it's maybe easier to also catch ourselves and make more conscious choices. What do I want to use? Which tool I want to use at a particular moment? Did this answer to your question?
Yeah, thank you. It sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, thank you. All right, then let's dive to empathy again. And yeah, it's not so much text, so I guess I will share this the same page that I also posted in our WhatsApp group, and then we go through this one, and afterwards I hope we will have time for some practice also, just to practice getting into habit of creating this precious connection instead of being on the level of the mind. Oh. No. The paper, here it is. Oh. Anyone else maybe has some questions and comments until I find this paper? Okay, I got it.
I guess I have a question if anyone can hear me.
Yes.
I can hear you.
Oh,
Loud and clear.
so it's working. That's good. I actually have a quick question. While everyone was sharing, first of all, please accept my humble obeisances. For a while, I haven't seen you. We have been busy on Saturdays, so and now I have. So my question is in terms of what we do on Harinam, for example. I try and connect to people. I'm wondering if that's also empathic communication. So basically, the idea is that we walk and we try and get people to chant, for example. All right. And the tool for that a lot of times is obviously eye contact. It's clapping of the hands. It's seeing how the person is standing, and trying to be with them at that time and trying to get them engaged with you, at that time. And then once you see they're engaged, then you can ask them to chant with you. You invite them to chant, and then they chant and dance. And a lot of times they may take a book, and etc. So I'm wondering if that's also empathic communication or not, or is that more just synchronizing the body somehow or other? But so yeah.
I guess only you can answer to this. How do you feel when you do it? Do you feel like connected really deeply, heart level, or you feel something else? And that could be different time to time also doing the same thing, right?
Yeah, I guess externally it might look like a connection, but internally it's not always necessarily a connection. I feel that I connect with those people later when I actually chant japa the next morning or something like that, and I actually pray for them. Then at that time I feel the connection, because they stay in my mind, those people who have engaged with me, for example. But maybe at that time, because things are fast and moving and there's lots of people and there's no time so much for this heart connection at the spot. Maybe sometimes it happens. But then later on, can it actually happen that later on you connect without person being present with you, but you connect to that person. Is that empathic communication?
Could be. It's again the same thing, that the empathy can happen without words, and actually words are not the empathy, but this is the
So what about the other person not being present?
Potentially possible, I guess. And again, it's the same thing that only you can evaluate in your case, whether you feel it's like in the mind level, imagination, or is it really this powerful energy coming from the heart to heart?
Well, I feel definitely helps me to pray for them and connect to Krishna for sure, because I'm connecting, through the holy names. I mean, I'm connecting to the holy names through the prayer for those people a lot of times, for example.
Yeah.
So who am I connecting to, Krishna or the other person, or both? Good question.
Yeah, or connecting Krishna to them, or it's
hopefully.
Yeah. Wonderful. That reminds me that Pure Krishna Maharaj was one time in one lecture, I believe, I don't remember exact reference. He was describing how he's nowadays doing preaching for students in the universities. And I remember Maharaj mentioning that he said that he does not speak any philosophy to them. He's just present for them. He's asking, how are you doing? And listening their feelings and needs. Means really connecting with these young people on the heart level. And that creates such usually such deep trust and bond. So people genuinely become interested in. And Maharaj really advocated that kind of thing, that actually what people mostly need is a love, is that kind of heartfelt connection, right? And everything else just comes after that. So it was very, very inspiring to hear. Yes, but let's now. Yes.
When I was hearing you now, I remembered immediately Radhanath Maharaj, because he is really a person who, even after big flight or whatever, he not go away from the airport, but he comes to every person, and somehow sees him or listens him, or watches to his eyes. So he gives some attention. It's like you say, this empathic approach, and so it's really, this person is really like, you see it, how it's in real life, how it works.
Yeah. Thank you. Beautiful example. So that again brings up this point that empathy is not about the words. Words can help, but it's not that it's only words. And I also like this metaphor that the map is not the territory. It means that the map is just a try to describe the territory, but it's never the same than the territory itself. The same way also the words are trying to describe our experience or to connect with others' experience, but it can often and easily also happen without words. Just being present, this energy of being present. And let's read a little bit about this from that file. Anyone would like to start and read this quote from Marshall Rosenberg? Yes, please.
What is empathy and what isn't empathy in empathic communication? Our ability to offer empathy can allow us to stay vulnerable, diffuse potential violence, help us hear the word no without taking it as a rejection, revive lifeless conversation, and even hear the feelings and needs expressed through silence.
Yes. Any thoughts or comments or anything that stands out for you from that?
check some words, meaning of some words first.
Excuse me, could you say again? What did you say?
I should check the meaning of some words first.
Like which verse?
No, I do it. No problem. Somebody can speak.
Okay. So here,
What does
Marshall,
mean that revive lifeless conversation?
bring it back to life. And it means that
yeah.
that sometimes maybe you also have experienced that we are with people who are using a lot of words and our minds are switching off because either we are not on the same interest with them at that moment, or it's just more than we can absorb or take in at the point, and then usually we are switching off and thinking about something else and just wishing that he or she would finish or stop, and that's what is meant by this lifeless conversation. And Marshall Rosenberg's experience is also that usually when we feel bored about the discussion, then the speaker is also not happy with that and is most likely also disconnected from her or himself. So that would be only helpful if we would learn to then use our empathic communication skills for interrupting with compassion. And the purpose of this kind of interrupting is not to take the floor ourselves, but it is to bring the conversation back to life, really, to help other person to connect with the essence, what they actually wanted to say with all this wordiness. And Marshall Rosenberg also has kind of indicator that I think it was even based on some kind of research that people are able to hear maximum 40 words in one chunk. So if we are speaking longer, then we are like wasting our words because it's just about the capacity to take in more at once. Like we cannot eat or digest too big chunks also in a subtle level. Too many words we cannot take in at once. Yeah, okay. Let's go further here. Maybe this part.
Maybe you can also
Yes, please.
Also say what means how empathy can allow us to stay vulnerable.
How empathy can allow us stay more vulnerable, yeah? Does anyone have experience or thought about this? How come?
Or it means about self-empathy, or what it is about.
Any takers who would like to share about that question?
Does it mean that we don't take masks on us to protect, to be somebody who we are not?
That we are giving ourselves and others permission to show our deepest place in our heart, share our feelings and needs. And that may feel scary in the beginning even, and definitely it is making ourselves vulnerable. And at the same time, the magic is that this vulnerability doesn't make us weak, but rather opposite. This vulnerability gives us strength because that will help us to really connect to our source, to our roots. Anybody has experience about that?
I didn't get it. What is? Sorry.
Could you maybe try to reflect back what I said under people? What did you hear or what did you?
But it somehow just came through, through me. I was not grasping it.
Does anyone else like to put some words on it?
Can I try?
Please.
I remember watching Marshall Rosenberg one of the seminars he was giving, and he was telling a story how he was called to speak to big bankers. I think they were big people, and talking to them about I think it was empathic nonviolent communication, and he started talking about his family, Marshall Rosenberg himself. So he's explaining, I'm sitting here in front of these big people, in big suits, everything, expensive, top class people, brick faces, very business-like, no emotions, etc. And Marshall Rosenberg started talking about the families, and then his family, his experience, and he started crying at some point. He was talking about it, and he started crying, how things, I guess, weren't going that well, how he wasn't so supportive, etc. I don't remember exactly what he was talking about, but the gist was that. And then he was looking at those people, and then he suddenly looked at them. So that's him being vulnerable, right? He was talking about very deep things about himself, and he was actually emotional about it also in front of these, business sharks, big top guns in the business world. And so he asked them, he said, you're thinking, well, you called me here, and he's sitting here crying, and then suddenly the big boss, he actually said, he was saying something like, well, actually, I wish I could cry like this about my relationships with my family, and in my family, things are going really bad, and relationships are really bad because I cannot actually talk like this. So this vulnerability actually is really powerful, because person who's actually able to express his vulnerable, his deep, I guess, heart sort of emotions in front of other people, he's actually very brave. And so these people who have poker faces, they're just scared. It's like, playing poker, you're just scared that someone else will see your cards, right? And he will play against you. But a person who's able to show you his cards to everybody else and not be afraid, that's, being brave. Of course, in some cases, it's very stupid, I guess, but in some situations, you should not do that. Generally in life. So that's my understanding. And yeah, thank you.
I would like to add.
Please.
Thank you. And to go on from here, so he was not afraid of showing his feelings, because he was in connection with this his needs, because the power of his strength was not outside, in the opinion of other people or etc. things, but the power of the source of his power was inside, and he was in connection with this power. That's why he was not afraid, and that's why this vulnerability didn't make him weaker.
Thank you. Yes, Damodar Kripa Prabhu, you were raising your hand.
Still, I understand that to be vulnerable is strength, but still, how is connected with empathy? It's this thing what just Manjusundari said about self-empathy, yes? But maybe it's also connected with somehow empathy to others. Is there any connection in this case, in this regard?
Anyone wants to answer?
Because not maybe everyone understands, like Acharya Prabhu said, somebody, yeah, he can feel that I wish I could cry, but somebody can say, oh, he is just a weak person, If he is not connected himself, he can understand wrong or something.
I guess.
You don't.
Yeah, please.
You don't need to show your feelings, but you can do it. I understand it this way. But what did you want to say, Mother Radhika?
I forgot about it.
Well, Damodar Kripa Prabhu, you're saying that, the other person's reaction is something that is basically, I don't know, in the question right now, but I understand that in empathic communication, the other person's reaction is always kind of not our control, right? So we can try and be empathic with the other person, with ourselves, but then the other person might choose not to connect and just say, oh, he's just weak, or he's just stupid, or he's just this and that. That's their choice in a way.
Well, yeah, but here is a statement that ability to offer empathy. So it means I give something to others. But is it about I give it's myself empathy and it's like a mirror for others, or it's also something else also? If I'm vulnerable in this case, just I want to more, put focus on it to understand it.
Getting your question slowly. Your question is, how does being vulnerable yourself is showing empathy to the other person?
Yes, yes.
So what's the connection there? Actually, or someone.
Because it helps that other person open up.
Or it is maybe in this case that if you see that if you are vulnerable, that can open person, then you do it. But if you don't, if you're in empathy and you see that it will not help, then you don't do it. It's like this, maybe.
Yeah, sounds like.
I'm losing some of your words, therefore I'm not getting the whole question. Could you please repeat again the last question?
Well, Acharya formulated very goodly that how this vulnerability is empathy for others. And my proposition was that maybe if it's like, if I feel that I should be vulnerable and that it helps our person, I'm with this empathic. But if I feel that it will not help, I will not show or stick like I am vulnerable.
So that's your comment, or?
That's my proposition, how this can be empathy for others. And I just want to ask if this is correct. And
There is no.
Maybe you should give your explanation or maybe some example.
I would suggest that we go on right now reading, and then we try practice, and then otherwise it feels for me that it gets so theoretical that my brain starts smoking. Would that be okay?
Okay, like you say.
Who would like to read this next one?
I can read.
Please.
When we use empathy in empathic communication, we support having high quality relationships, as well as the prevention and resolution of conflicts. Colloquially, people talk about giving empathy, but technically, we don't give empathy. What we give is our full presence with our entire being. As a result, the other person's need for empathy, for being deeply understood, is fulfilled. Learning how to offer empathy, how to be present with our whole being so that the other person experiences being understood deeply, is one of the essential skill sets learned in empathic communication.
All right. Let's go further. Who would like to take this one?
I can try.
Please.
What is empathy? Empathy is a universal human need for being deeply understood. We can think of it as a respectful or compassionate understanding. When offering empathy, we embody a quality of being completely present with what is alive in the other person moment to moment. Therefore, empathy has a quality of following rather than leading. Following rather than leading. Empathy is not the words, yet focusing on and questioning our own or others' feelings and needs may help to connect empathically.
Right. So this is like, in essence, what empathy is. That this is the quality of presence. And as the last sentence says that it's not about the words, but words could help, as we also mentioned before. And I would like to get now into looking through these habitual ways, which habitual ways of communication that block empathy. And it's, I want to stress that it's not that these things are wrong and we never ever in our life should do these things anymore. No, it is the goal to bring up this differentiation, what empathy is and what empathy isn't, is to give us more clarity and choice. What do we want to use in a particular moment in different time, place, and circumstances? And let's take one after another. Maybe each of us could read one line and then we see where we go with this. Who would like to take first?
I can do that.
Thank you.
Sympathy. I feel your pain. I have been there.
Right.
That's not very empathic.
And why is it not empathic?
Because sympathy is the opposite of empathy. And in reality, you cannot feel the other person's pain.
Right.
You can feel something similar, but not the same.
Mm-hmm. So sympathy is then bringing attention to me, right?
Mm.
I feel sad for you, or I feel sorry for you, or it's all about me, what I feel. But empathy is being with other person's experience, energy, following other person. Yes. Thank you. Next one, who would like to read?
I can read. Suggestions. Let me tell you what I think you should do.
That sounds like familiar to many of us. So this is
me.
yes, and this is again what blocks empathy, that blocks the flow of this beautiful, precious energy, right? As soon as we start to give advice, suggestions, we are dumping the big boulder block on the way of that energy. And again, it's not wrong to give advice, but according to time, place, and circumstance. And it's actually very advisable to check with a person before. You know, I have something that may be helpful in your situation. Are you willing to hear my advice? We are honest about it and we give a person's choice whether they are open at that particular moment for advice or they need something else. Right? Next one. Who would like to take?
I can try.
Yes.
Fixing or resolving things. Daddy, will you buy you? Daddy will buy you a new one. Daddy
Yeah.
will buy you a new one.
Yes.
Solving.
Yes, solving or trying to fix, and especially when I have noticed that in our cultures, in Western world at least, many people are afraid of others, seeing others crying or suffering. And the first impulse is to try to really quickly, you know, put the patches on or get it not crying or whatever, trying to fix it, right? We are living in the quick fix culture, actually. So we are trying also quick fix the people. But it doesn't help when we put the patch on the pain and person has not got any connection, any support to connect with themselves and with others. So fixing is another big block on the way of empathy, giving empathy or sharing empathy. And next one. I will read the next one. Investigation. When was the first time you felt this way? Yeah, anyone recognize that? We try again in an intellectual level to analyze when did it start, but it doesn't help. Even Marcel Rosenberg, who was decades and decades working as a professional psychotherapist, he realized that it doesn't help people. Next one. Who would like to read?
I can read.
Please.
Diagnosing. This is because you are an egomaniac, Aries, etc.
Diagnosing, as we have learned before, judging, evaluating, diagnosing, etc. Again, Miss, not helping with empathy. Next one. I'll read that. Yeah, please.
Honesty. When I hear what you're saying, I feel upset. Sounds very empathic.
Yes.
Yes, sounds may sound it, but where is the attention? Who is taking the floor?
Me.
Yes. When I hear what you are saying, I feel upset, right? This is, again, I stress it again, all this list, these things, they are not wrong, like in general, but good to learn to distinguish when to use what. Yeah, honesty in creating connection and in discussion with others is very useful, but while offering empathy, our full attention is meant to be on another person and other person's experience. And later on, we can share honestly, or if empathy doesn't work, like for example, we will suggest people to find empathy buddies, like a person with whom to have regular empathy sessions to give and receive empathy. And in such empathy buddy sessions, especially when we are practicing not so long empathy, it's completely in the place to when I feel that I have blockage, I cannot access my empathy source. So I honestly then may say that I'm really, what is going on in me, but not in a different setting where we are, our intention is just offer empathy. Was that understandable?
But could we go on like saying that how it was I fear when I hear what you are saying, I feel upset. How do you feel hearing me saying this? Then I all give the floor back, but I was honest, and also I am here, and I'm also a person.
In some other situation, most likely we are looking what is blocking empathy, right? It's completely okay in situation where we have back and forth communication, like exchange, right? But when we are in this flow of empathy, there it's meant that there it will be blocked, that flow. It will be blocked, that energy, that it will break that presence, being present for other person. Okay. Another quick one, I will read that. Agreeing. Yes, you are right. It's also blocking this flow of energy, this precious flow of energy that has.
Really? Yeah. I didn't understand it, sorry.
Because we are coming to the intellectual level to analyze whether somebody is right or wrong. We need a mind, right? So we are out from this energy of heart level, precious connection. We are jumping to our heads and making decision. Yeah, he is right. And then we say, yes, you're right. And we are breaking that connection. Whether we say you are wrong or you are right, doesn't matter. We are on intellectual level. Advising, I would maybe skip this one. It's very similar to this suggestion over here. Maybe we take this one next. One upping. Who would like to read that? What about you, Janananda Prabhu? We haven't heard your voice too much today.
I'm happy for that. You are probably also, but I can read this one.
Thank you.
One upping, interesting. You should hear what happened to me. Well, then again, we take the floor instead of let them keeping the floor.
Yes.
So
Yes. The focus will be again in me and
yeah,
look how much I suffered, right? All right. Educating, next one. Who would like to read that?
I can read.
Please.
Educating. Think about it as a lesson learned. You should.
Guess it doesn't require any further comments. Next one, please.
controlling. Okay, please go ahead.
Consoling. Don't worry. You did the best you could under the circumstances.
And again, I stress that it's not that it's wrong to console and we from now on never should console anybody. No, it's just not fitting into this flow of empathic listening to someone. Yes, the storytelling is quite similar to one-upping. Let's jump it over it and then take this one. Please, Janananda Prabhu.
Shutting down. Oh, well, that's life. Grow up. Yeah, the last thing was not there, but it's more or less the same.
Yeah, it's again like putting the lid on it. That's how life is, just shut down and yeah. Okay, thank you. Next one. This is actually similar to this investigation. I will read that one. Interrogating. Really? Who said so? When? Where were you? What did they say about it? It's probably also quite self-explanatory that it brings us again up to our mind level, starting to analyze and playing detective.
But what to do then you don't understand? Then you get lost already. You don't understand the story, what she or he is telling. Then you should ask or what.
Very nice question. Thank you for that. It's absolutely not needed to know the story. It's absolutely not needed. It's absolutely not needed the one who offers his or her empathic presence to other person, because we are not offering ourselves to follow the story. We are offering ourselves to be present to the feelings and needs, and the feelings and the present feelings and needs. Like, for example, person may tell story what happened about whatever 20, 40 years ago, right? Oh, when my aunt did this to me, then right? And there is no need to investigate what she did or what she said and why she said and whatever, because the reason why the person tells this story is that there are some feelings and needs alive in the moment, triggered by remembering this story. And empathy can happen only in the presence. We can then offer our presence to the feelings, for example, in a way that when I hear you telling the story what happened 20 years ago, I wonder if you are feeling sadness, despair, agony, because you have need for understanding or friendship, or we are bringing person back to the present by connecting to their needs and feelings in the present, behind the story. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you. That was a very important question. All right, and the next one, who would like to read?
Explaining. I'm sorry, I meant to, but this and this and this. And then we are still up in the head, not with our heart.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. It's very inspired to see how you start to really grasp that difference between being in the heart or in the head. Thank you. And one more.
Correcting. No, that's not right. You don't remember. It was actually like this.
Yes. I guess it's already becoming more clear which energy it comes from the head or from the heart, right? And the last thing?
Spotting. Maybe, but you should have.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, but you should have. What does it mean?
I think there are these dots missing. That it's kind of, you know, it's still again in the head, right? I maybe even agree with your thing, but, and this but usually deletes everything that is in front of the but. And if you maybe have read or will read Marshall Rosenberg's main book about nonviolent communication, there is a beautiful story about how but is really not helping us in this regard. And here is like a conclusion in this small table about what empathy is and what empathy isn't, just to give us more clear overview and comparison. So what empathy is our full presence with our entire being, that we are really fully there, fully focused with the heart. Right. And in other words, that can be said that we are listening not with our ears, but we are listening with our heart. And one will notice it and recognize it when it happens. It's really in the body, in the heart area, one will feel it. It's impossible, at least for me, to explain it more detailed in the words. And empathy is focusing the attention. That means our full attention is on other person, on their feelings and needs at the given moment. Because life happens in the given moment. Mind operates in the past and in the present, lamenting about the past and worrying, sorry, not present, lamenting about the past and worrying about the future. But life happens in the present, here and now. All right. It can be called also being on the same wavelength, that we are really like a surfer on this surf blade, surfing on the ocean. We are surfing on this wave of the energy where other person energy goes, and we are not trying to direct it or question where it comes and when it starts and etc. That what we saw in the previous list. And being in the moment, being here and now, also ourselves inside, without thinking, what should I do tomorrow, or what did I do yesterday, or just being here and now. That's what empathy is. And empathy isn't all these things that we read before, like advising, consoling, or one-upping, educating, storytelling, shutting down, correcting, justifying, etc. All right, we went happily through this part. Any other thoughts or comments about that?
Yeah, I would ask if there was a people who got his questions answered, because like I feel that we stopped at one point to go through the list, and maybe it would be good to go back and follow up on what actually happens. Did you get any clarification, Prabhu?
Thank you, Jananda Prabhu. Beautiful.
No.
Yeah, then I suggest that we still wait a little bit and we do few practices and then ask the question again. And Janananda Prabhu, if you would keep track again, and you were doing it so beautifully. After our practice, we check in again.
Okay.
Yeah. And practice, I suggest that, I first want to check the time. It's 12:56. And I guess we got going a bit later than 12. So I wonder, would anyone have a need to leave earlier if we go over maybe 10 or 15 minutes over 1 o'clock?
It's okay.
All right, then let me see. I would suggest us to practice getting into habits, trying to hear feelings and needs, no matter what the other person says. And this will be, the goal is not to be right or try to guess correct feelings and needs behind what other person is saying, but just be very quick into noticing that, okay, now it's time to go down from the head to the heart, and let me make this standard, let's call it standard or classic empathic test. Are you feeling this because you need that? And these feelings and needs can be completely out of blue, whatever. It's just about creating that habit. Understandable? Maybe we make a little demonstration. Madana Sundar Prabhu, would you like to make a little demonstration with me?
Okay.
Yeah.
I can try.
Yeah, let's, you just drop off one sentence, one short sentence. It can be about anything in the world. And I try to then guess your feelings and needs.
I like to sit in the sun.
Are you feeling joyful because you need some light and warmth?
I don't know. It's an
It's enough.
urgent feeling.
Yeah, it's enough. We even don't wait response from other person, whether the feeling, whether the guess was correct or landing or not landing. Yeah, we just, one gives a sentence, other guesses feelings and needs, and then we switch the roles. Now I'm giving a sentence and you guess feelings and needs. Yeah.
Okay.
Our cat has blue eyes.
And I should have said about your feelings and needs.
Yeah. Are you feeling because you need?
Yeah. Are you feeling happy because you see beauty out around you?
Thank you. Yeah. So the point is not to guess right, but just get into down from head to the heart, guessing feelings and needs. Yeah. Shall we?
Okay.
And another couple who would like to try it with each other. 2 volunteers.
It's so difficult to go to the heart. It's like a new language.
Yes, it is new language. It is new language. It's not language of right and wrong, but it's language of connecting with the heart.
And it's not investigation also. I can't use it.
No. Yes. What about Chanananda Prabhu and Acharya Prabhu? Would you like to try?
Sure, I can give a sentence. Very noisy here with the washing machine.
Yes. Chanananda Prabhu, are you feeling because you need?
Oh, was that a question or a sentence?
That's a sentence, yes.
Okay. Are you feeling sad because it's so noisy? And do you need to have some peace around you?
Thank you. Switching roles. Chanananda Prabhu gives sentence and Acharya Prabhu guesses feelings and needs.
I think I would like to get out in the sun.
Yes, and guessing, are you feeling because you need?
Feeling a bit bored and you would like to switch the environment.
Thank you. Yes. Damodar Kripa Prabhu, are you available?
Yes.
Let's couple maybe Damodar Kripa Prabhu and Chanananda Prabhu. Damodar Kripa Prabhu, would you give a sentence, please?
Oh, again, they sing very loud outside.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
Again, they sing very loudly outside.
Oh, are you sad because you need some peace around you?
Thank you. Now you switch roles. Chanananda Prabhu gives a sentence and Damodar Kripa Prabhu guesses, are you feeling because you need?
Oh, This sun seems to be so bright.
The other Prabhu, are you
Are
feeling?
you feeling disturbed because you need some darkness?
Hopefully not.
It's not quite a need, right?
Yes.
No, I'm missing my sunglasses.
Ah, yes.
So what is the need behind sunglasses? Could it be protection?
Protection of the eyes.
Course.
Yes. Thank you. That also reminds us to check whether it's need or not need, right? One needs sunglasses. Sunglasses, for example, is not the need, but strategy to meet the need for protection. For example, one of the potential strategies. All right. Any comments about this little practice?
Very nice practice.
Yes. Usually we do it when we are having good fortune to be in the same room with all participants. We call it like empathy mill, and we do it really fast, going to each other and making guesses. And it's lots of fun, as I also saw you had fun. And also it really gets into it, into out from the head and to this new language practice. All right, any other comments, questions?
I had a question about this session, I guess, a little bit in terms of we were talking about how empathy means to have full presence in listening with the heart. And this is a philosophical question from Krishna consciousness point of view, because from Krishna conscious point of view, we're not supposed to associate with people who are not devotees. Now, listening with the heart is exactly what, as far as I understand, we are kind of advised not to do with people who are not devotees, because when we listen to their heart, then their consciousness and everything like that rubs off on us. So my question is whether there's some level of listening with the heart that is not harmful to our spiritual life.
Interesting question. The way how I understand it is that we are not supposed to reveal our heart to anybody and anyone. And at the same time, referring back to this, Krishna Maharaj is sharing about how he is preaching with students. He's listening them empathically, right? That does not mean that he takes their association, but he kind of offers his presence, right? So we are like, in my understanding, we are offering our presence, but we are not taking their association. We are not taking their values. So in this regard, it's not harmful as I see it. Does that make sense?
Listening with the heart is not necessarily taking on their values, right? Because I have heard also from Krishna Maharaj that when we hear from other people with the heart, we open our heart to what they say to us. It's like watching a movie, right? It will rub off if you're watching it with the heart and everything. Then you may not take the value. But I understand your answer was spot on. He also explains that we don't take, but then there's also other side where actually he did say that when we listen to other people with the heart, we listen to them. I guess in a way that we take the association. It's too loud here, sorry.
Can I reflect?
Please.
Did I understand correctly that it's dangerous for us in case we are searching for shelter? But if we are in a mood of serving the other person, then it's the same thing isn't dangerous, because we are already filled in and we know where we are and where is our shelter.
Yeah, and we are.
If we're empty. Yeah, if we feel empty inside, then we take everything what's outside. But if we are not, if it's not our aim, then we are not in dangerous position. for example, watching the movie, then we just want to be we want to get jokes and etc. And we are very open to get something.
Yeah, like absorbing something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can resonate with that. And I think in my understanding, it also sometimes people are afraid that really opening our heart and being empathically present for someone, we kind of absorb or get absorbed or almost sucked into their pain or their, thing. But it's not like that. It's being rather like channel, and this precious energy works through us. That's the best I'm able to explain it. But the good news is that Krishna Maharaj is coming soon into Europe in the middle of May. Then we can ask Maharaj on the spot about the same question. Yeah, okay, nice.
My feeling about this is that if we are together with others and want to listen to them, to get their feelings and needs, and we then find out, oh, it's a nice way to live, then we go from the heart up to the brain, to the mind, instead of staying at the heart.
Yes, and I read beautiful thing. Thank you. Beautiful comment. That actually on the needs level, we are seeing each other's humanity. We are actually connecting with we are seeing the soul, that everyone is the part and parcel of Krishna. And in Last Back to Godhead, it's also available in online. There is interesting article about, are people born as good or evil? And there is beautiful description on the basis analyzing the Ravana, who seems like terrible demon, right? Are people born with evil qualities or like bad, or are they born like good, or how it is? And there is exactly beautiful description which also shows that on the soul level everyone is pure, right? And we also current times, as I understand it, we are not anymore encouraged to see people who are not yet devotees as demons or whatever, label them in a way that makes us more separated and not really, or putting like ourselves higher, but really seeing them as a spirit souls, right? And connecting on a need level helps to connect, to see this, our common humanity, even when people may act in a way that are not in accordance with our values. And that kind of heart connection, I also understood from Bir Krishna Maharaj's sharing about his university preaching, that helps other people also to come closer to Krishna, because they get connection with a sincere connection with someone who is already connected with Krishna, like especially like our Maharajas, right? And that's our goal, isn't it? To bring people closer to Krishna. That's my humble 2 cents.
So did I understand you correctly that if we connect to the feelings and needs, then we are connecting to the soul, and in that case we can't get contaminated because it is not material platform?
I'm not able to answer this 100% because we have 2 material bodies, right? We have gross body and subtle body. And as I understood Bir Krishna Maharaj saying, the empathic communication is still a material tool that can be used in the service of Krishna consciousness. So I'm not so sure where this line goes between material heart and spiritual. I cannot answer that. Anyone else maybe is more clear about this? But like on material subtle level, I am convinced that we are not taking, when we are really in this empathic flow, we are not taking others' feelings on us or getting affected, for example, by others' feelings. That's proved fact. That much I can say.
Okay, I think we lost Damodar Kripa, so there's no reason for me to ask him again if he got everything solved.
Right.
That we will have to do next time.
Yes, I also, maybe any of you who got and remembered this Damodar Kripa Prabhu's last question clearly, I couldn't catch it very clearly, could write it on WhatsApp group.
All right.
Yeah, and then we can check with Prabhu if it's correct understanding and try to yeah, churn out some answer that hopefully will be satisfying for him. And thank you very much. I very much appreciate Janananda Prabhu, your stepping in and co-leading and helping with keeping track, for example, this question, and also Acharya Prabhu and Madan Sundar Mataji, this when you were reflecting back, and it's very helpful. And it feels like, for me, like co-creating or co-facilitating the whole thing. And that brings me so much joy and happiness and inspiration. So thank you for today's Sangha. I'm very grateful again that you all took this time out from your Saturday and joined. It really met my needs for connection and for sharing and joy, be around the devotees and churn such deep topics actually. And I would be happy if anyone of you would like to share about your needs met or not met by this Sangha today. Or any celebrations or mornings.
Not morning, but I think it was nice.
What was nice about it for you?
To get closer to the heart instead of all the time popping up in the brain and use the mind. So, yeah, that's more like my normal life.
Thank you. That really warms my heart to hear that and meets my need for hope. Anybody else wants to say something?
I would like to say that I'm also very happy about this hour. I got to know the blockages, although I assumed them, but if you see on the paper, then yeah, one or two, they were, I was surprised to see them there. And also I liked this play we made, dialogues. It was confirming into my head this language. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much. And please accept my obeisances. All the best and hope to see you next Saturday. Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.